Okay, everybody, thank you for coming and getting involved in this situation with us. Um, we wanted to hold this on the fly because a lot of people have been inquiring about letters that have been received in the last few days regarding our recall efforts. First and foremost, I want to say that I'm very, very proud to be able to be part of this and very thankful to all the homeowners that we were able to meet during this process. Here at Via Sol, I've been here almost 9 years, and I've never seen so much unity and positivity on trying to make a great change for our community. So thank you. This is for you guys. So first, the communications that have been sent by the board supposedly have a lot of inaccuracies. It seems to me that that they didn't believe that we can pull off this recall. I think they felt that it was a waste of our time, and unfortunately, with our commitment to transparency to you guys, we made an announcement that we were close to getting the target that we were aiming for, and that caused them to kind of fly off the hinges, so to speak, and kind of start reacting to the recall immediately. So I wanted to hold this meeting along with my peers here to kind of educate everybody about, there's two sides to every story. So they told their story. We would like to tell our story, our side, and let you, the homeowner, decide who you believe and what you think the future of this community should be like. So I am a candidate for the board since the first turnover election in the original one, which was supposed to take place in 2017. There have been 3 more elections since then, and none of them have been fair. None of them have included all the home ownership. And the most important thing for everyone to realize is that your current board members have never been elected to the board. They were appointed initially by the developer. 2 of them were appointed by the developer back in 2015 after they launched a bad publicity campaign against the developer. And in his best interest, he decided to go ahead and give him 2 seats on the board. Since then, there has been no election. So those 2 board members have remained in their seats uncontested because there's no election. And they chose, at the 2018 election, they chose the other 5 members. Within less than a year of the 5 members being appointed, 2 members quit because we don't know. My anticipation or my speculation is that they didn't like the goals of the board. However, the board has a fiduciary responsibility to the ownership, and their goal, their priority should have been to fill those 2 seats so that we could have a representative board according to our documents. Unfortunately, they have chosen not to do that, and they decided to leave those seats vacant ever since. As many of you who have been following this, me and Herman, probably about 3 years ago, we decided to start kind of keeping an eye on things with the HOA and CDD and kind of try to figure out why things were happening, why didn't they happen. And we decided to build this social media network here at Via Sol with the sole intent to bring unity to our community, never with any intent of harming anyone, of disparaging anyone, or of talking negative about anyone. And, as you guys know, our rules in the social network are geared to being civil about our differences. And we have said that if anybody's ever offended or felt something was said that was not right, if they complain to us, we will remove it because we don't want people to be offended. We want people to be happy and be together. That being said, these elections, there's always, at every election, there has been a different reason why they claim that they didn't get the votes. Our personal opinion for this group is that they don't send the right number of ballots. They don't promote the elections, and people don't know what is it that they have to do. And they have no transparency, so there's no education of our owners. That being said, we decided after the last election to quickly move and review all the ballots to make sure that we had enough for an election. And we did. Our quorum in this community has always been 25%. So we counted 139 good votes that they agreed to, plus there were 6 more votes that they denied us because they said they were late, but yet they were postmarked on time. So I don't know what that means. But anyway, either way, we surpassed 25%. And at that point in time, they decided to let us know that a couple of months before that election took place, which was actually the same day that they announced the initial election that they canceled in October, in December, they came out and said that they had changed the bylaws, they had created new ones because the old ones were never recorded. I was very, very shocked that this happened because I've had many conversations back in 2018 with the property manager at the time, who was Mike Reed, and he always told me that it was customary for a developer not to record bylaws prior to the turnover to the owners, with the intent that the new board would record them right away after turnover. These gentlemen have been on this board since 2018. Why didn't they do it in 2018? Why didn't they do it in 2019? And why did they wait till the end of 2020, which is when they decided to call the next election, that they decided to record new bylaws? So we felt it was done with malice. It was done out of character with the intent to make it even harder to reach a fair election. On top of that, they canceled our in-person election and they decided to do a virtual election. The election, we never saw ballots in the virtual election, and they decided that there wasn't enough people and they stay again. But anyway, that's the story that got us here. Me and Herman and a couple of other owners decided that we're not going to let them get away with it this time. We're going to seek legal counsel and see what our options are. We decided to hire an attorney. Our goal was not to sue the HOA as they lead you to believe. Our goal was to have them count the ballots because we feel that the right thing to do is to seat a board that is supported by the people that own the properties in this community. Our initial course was to write them a nice legally formatted letter asking them to sit down at the table and negotiate this out. And we had at least 3 or 4 different solutions that we would have agreed to had they sat down with us and negotiated. However, they felt that we didn't merit any negotiation, and they basically shut us down and said that they weren't meeting with us. Then we went to our documents. Our documents require that when there's an election disagreement, that we pursue mediation. Mediation is a non-binding situation where the parties gather there, they discuss it, and then they decide if they want to resolve it. The day of the mediation, only 2 board members showed up with the attorney. And basically they said that there wasn't enough board members for them to make any decisions. So therefore they weren't going to do anything. And they basically made us waste our time. So these are the things on that letter that they don't mention. So our next recourse was arbitration. Our documents, unfortunately, do not require either binding or non-binding. It just says that it requires that you do arbitration. Our attorney sent their attorney a letter requesting binding arbitration because we thought it was the right thing, that whoever won arbitration had to do whatever the arbitrator decided. And we were willing to take that loss if that was the case. Unfortunately, our board decided that they didn't want binding arbitration, that they would only agree to non-binding. So that changed everything because that shows that they were not committed to allow the change we were seeking. So after discussion with our legal counsel, it came to say that it was better for us to try to do a fast track arbitration to try to save money for everybody and try to get a quick decision, which retrospectively, it looks like it's coming back to haunt us at this point, but that's okay. We did the best we could with the information we had at the time. And we agreed to the non-binding arbitration that was the only option they gave us. At that time, we provided them with 3 arbitrators that our lawyer had suggested that would be the most neutral. 2 of them were quickly turned down by the board. They said that they would not use those 2 arbitrators. And the only one out of the 3 that they agreed to was unwilling to take the case. So at that point, what do we do? They suggested a fourth arbitrator, and we had no choice but to go with the arbitrator that they suggested they would agree to so we could move things forward. The arbitration, there was no witnesses present. Everybody just submitted affidavits, and our lawyers presented their arguments. They claimed that they undisputedly 100% were right, according to the arbitrator, but that's not what the arbitrator's decision says. The arbitrator's decision says specifically that he doesn't find any legal process or law that applies to the situation that says that the board had to record the original bylaws. He couldn't entertain all the other issues surrounding that, and that just by that virtue, he couldn't side with either party. And he basically said, I'm not changing anything, is basically what he said. So at this point, we were met with the choice, should we sue the HOA and keep going forward? We counted our losses. What a lot of people don't know is that the members that have been supporting us and that are part of this a smaller group of homeowners that have been doing all the legwork in the background have dished out a lot of money to get just to this point that I've just talked about. I don't know exact numbers. Herman knows the better numbers. He can show you receipts if you need to, but we're vested in more than $12,000 in just a few months' time. So our lawyer basically said that we would probably be out another $25,000 if we pursued a legal lawsuit. And on top of that, we would probably bankrupt the HOA because they're going to use our funds to fight us. So with that in mind, we resorted to the recall law. So there's a law in Florida that says that when the homeowners disagree with their board, even for no reason whatsoever, we can just recall them if 50% of us agree. So we decided that would be the best option, because not only would it show that the community in its entirety is supporting the change, it'll also show that we're reaching out in a grassroots manner to each individual homeowner, shaking the hand, getting to know them, letting them ask questions, and it would allow us to have a better bond with the ownership. And that was what our intent was. So this decision was made back in December, and we've started looking for votes ever since after the holidays. We were looking for votes. We were knocking on doors, spending as much of our free time as we possibly could, utilizing the leverage of other homeowners that were asking other neighbors within their proximity that they were familiar with, that they knew, to support the cause. Out of 489 properties in this community, that's including houses and townhomes, we were able to get 262 owners to sign our ballot. Now the HOA has a communication saying that we are misleading the ownership. I'm going to tell you firsthand that the majority of the people that I spoke to don't even know the names of the board members. They don't know who they are. They don't know what they stand for. They just assume that they got elected and they're there and they just don't need to know anything. But once they took the time to ask questions, to inform themselves of the issues that were being faced in this community, a lot of them were convinced that this is the right thing to do, because nobody knew really what's been going on. A lot of people were not informed. Some people were aware of the election issues, but no one was aware how bad the problem was. So, to make the long story short, I am very confident that the 262 members that signed that ballot did it from their heart because they knew it was the right thing to do. Not because we misled them, not because they have personal vendettas against the board. That speaks for itself. And that's why we're sure that over time we will prevail. Okay, so I've covered that. I also want to say they also mentioned the fact that we were misrepresenting ourselves as being part of the official HOA, and that is completely false. We made it a priority to inform every owner that we are an unofficial entity of homeowners that are trying to remove board members that are bad for our community, period. And that is the God honest truth. We provided flyers regarding our website, regarding our Facebook group, regarding our WhatsApp group. The reason for these things is because the HOA took away our town square forum where we were able to communicate directly with the homeowners. And now we have to find ways where we could keep everybody informed. And that was the best ways, the use of social media, of websites. That website is funded by us with our own money. You know, we're not asking anybody to donate, but if they do, that's great. You understand? And some of you have, out of your kindness of your heart, given money towards the cause, and we really are thankful for that. So that's the second thing. Then I want to address the other issue is regarding the developer. I've had some members of our group even ask me if our intent was to bring the developer back into the community, which I found it kind of alarming because the developer has no business in our community anymore. He sold more than 90% of his properties. He's not selling anything else. And there's no reason why he should be part of our business. So that has never been the intent. We used the developer just because he was the one that created the original bylaws, and he's the only one that could testify that there were existing bylaws at the time of the turnover. And as far as any other ties to the developer, they're just completely wrong. We don't have any ties to the developer whatsoever. And then I want to just say something quickly about Herman Perez, which I think he's kind of being used as an scapegoat and kind of being trashed on this letter that the board sent out. Herman Perez is not somebody that I knew personally prior to me endeavoring in this, but he has proven to me that he is committed to do the right thing no matter what. I think that most people in Herman's position would have probably sold their house and walked away from all this. But he's so committed to doing the right thing that he invests his time, his money, his effort, and he's the one responsible for getting most of the unity that we have today. And, you know, I know that, you know, we all have language barriers, we have accents. English is not our primary language sometimes, and sometimes these things can lead to misunderstanding. And I just think that, you know, he's being utilized in a very bad way, and he doesn't deserve that because he has proven that he wants what's best and he wants to work hard for us. That being said, he's never represented himself as an employee of HOA or board member or any of that nature. He has always told in my presence to multiple homeowners that he used to be on the loan committee for the CDD, and that he was. Oh, sorry, lady, I gotta mute you. Okay, and that you know, they had some disagreements during that time, and I believe that he was removed from the loan committee, you know, without cause. So aside from that, he's had no ties to any other organization here at VSO. But like I said, it's a bittersweet day because we should be celebrating our unity and celebrating that we finally accomplished something that I thought was unaccomplishable when we started. And I'm very, very impressed, like I said, with all the dedication of all the owners that have contributed to this. And we can't be more grateful than this. And at this time, I think all of us agree to put it in God's hands. Let this take its course. The HOA will receive all your recall ballots, all 262 of them, tomorrow by 6 p.m., which means that we need to hold a meeting to answer to these recalls no later than next Thursday. So, you know, by next Thursday, we will know. I don't anticipate this is going to be a walk in the park. I'm pretty sure that they're going to put up a fight. They're going to try to strip some votes, and we have to be prepared to defend our vote. We are committed to doing the right thing. If they try to take your vote away, we will make sure that we give you the forum to defend your right to vote. We don't want that to be taken erroneously. Now, if you believe that you have been misled and that you didn't intend to sign it, then by all means, sign the rescind form if that's what you really want. And when we receive it, I'm not going to lie to you, we would like you to verify that that was you, because this board has a reputation of just doing things that are not right. And I would not doubt that we will receive a stack of rescinded forms with people's names on them that are not coming directly from the owners. That being said, I want to open up for questions because I don't want to talk forever, but it's better if you guys ask exact questions that you want to hear, and we'll be able to fill in the gaps for you. So I'm going to turn it over to Corey. Corey, you there? Corey, do you have any questions on the chat?
I think Corey had 2 devices or something. He got a feedback.
Okay.
You need to mute one or the other.
Is Corey there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I'm running 2 devices so I can watch both things that are going on. At this time, we don't have any questions coming in.
I just see one here. It says, what is the exact date of recall? Okay, that's a great question. So I'm not sure what date you want, but I'll tell you the dates that matter. Tomorrow is the date of delivery. So tomorrow is the day that the clock starts. So whenever they receive it, and we will get a signature receipt when it gets delivered, they have 5 business days from the time they sign to call the meeting. So it doesn't mean they have to wait all 5 days. It could be 2 days, it could be 3 days, but they can't go past 5 days. So that means, I said, at the latest, they have to have a meeting by next Thursday, which means that they should post it no later than Tuesday. So by Tuesday, we should have at least the date and time of the meeting, or it could be sooner. We'll see. So that's the 5 days. Now, there's 3 things that can happen at that meeting. The best thing that can happen is that they back down and they approve our recall as it is, and they have 10 days to turn over the board. That's what we're looking for. The other 2 options are the 2 options that we hope they don't decide to do, but they can do it. One option is that they can say that this is a fake recall and that they don't agree with it at all and that they're not going to decide on it, which means that we would be forced to submit all of our recall ballots to the Department of Professional Regulation. Somebody mute Gina.
Somebody got in.
Hi.
Hi, can you mute
yes.
Gina?
Yes.
Thank you. So I was at. All right. So yeah, if they decide that the recall was frivolous, we would have to file within 5 days for arbitration with the Department of Professional Regulation, and they will give us a date in court at that. A date for a hearing for that. And at that time, we're going to need some volunteer homeowners that can come and speak about their experience with the recall and give validity to our votes. That's one of the 2. The other one is they can contest some of the votes as being fake or they have issues that they're not written correctly and bring us down below the 246 threshold. If they do that, then they have to apply to the Department of Professional Regulation and say that they found that there's too many votes that don't meet the criteria. And then the process is the same. Arbitration will be set, and then they will decide whether the votes that are being contested are valid or not. If they certify the recall, then again, once either path that we choose to go to or they choose to go to is going to end up that a decision is going to be rendered. If the recall is certified, then they have 10 days to turn over everything that's related to the HOA. So I hope that answers your question.
The next one. Will you be taking pictures of every single document that is being delivered?
Good question. So our lawyer said that there's nothing in the law that states that we have to give them our original ballots. So all the original ballots are still in our possession. We submitted copies. Should they contest it, we will provide the originals to the Department of Professional Regulation in order to maintain the integrity of the recall. Good question. Okay, I think that's it for the questions, right?
Sometimes they pop up, so if someone else has anything, they can speak up.
All right.
Okay,
somebody
someone
said they
say
have
hi,
a few more. Go
more.
for it.
So, hello everyone. So I have a couple questions. I've been typing, but I feel it's easier if I just, talk them out. The days got that covered. The method of delivery got that covered. So if when things are delivered and they call a meeting, I'm assuming it's an HOA meeting in the back in the meeting place where it always happens, right?
That's a good question. We're not sure about that because lately they've been doing everything virtual. So we're not sure. Ideally, we would love for them to hold it in person so that, we could also bring the originals and kind of we can hopefully see what they're doing and kind of counteract it right there and then. But, we don't know what they're going to do. So it could be virtual, it could be in person.
But as residents of this community, can we request a virtual meeting? I mean, it should be what the members of the community want, not what the board wants. And if the community requests an in-person meeting, then we should get an in-person meeting.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, but unfortunately, that's a board decision. They will not allow us to participate in that decision making. Because they have their attorney, and I'm sure so our votes are being delivered to the attorney, to their attorney, who's their registered agent for the HOA. So they will decide how they're going to hold the meeting, but they have to hold the meeting.
So, all right, I'm going to need some clarification on that. So when you say their attorney, who pays for that attorney? Is the HOA?
We all do. We all do from our HOA funds.
With the HOA fund. So it's not their attorney, it's the community's attorney.
Correct.
So
right now, this particular attorney has taken the stance that he is the board's attorney. He's not our attorney. He's saying that his job is to do whatever the board tells him to do.
Then it sounds to me like we need a new attorney that's for the community, not for the bird.
All that is in the plan, my friend.
Okay.
We need a new attorney. We need new management. We need a new everything. But it's all going to take time.
Okay.
Good questions. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, everybody. I would like you to continue to participate in all of our events and all of our communications. Like we did from the very beginning, we will always be transparent with you. Anything you need, you can direct message any one of us, and we'll be happy to meet with you, talk to you. If you are questioning anything that I mentioned on this regarding our course, we're willing to show you documents. We're willing to make sure that we give you anything you need to rest assured that you are supporting the right people. All we want is the votes to be counted and for a duly elected board to be sat, whether it's us or not. That's up to you guys, the owners. Go ahead, Jose. Sorry.
I have a question. In the meantime, I know that this board had characterized themselves for the behavior and demeanor while we have been going through this process. Any suggestions as to how should we interact with any board member who happens to stop by us or try to engage us in any kind of conversation pertaining to this matter, or trying to change our minds or things of that matter? We're talking about our homes, and when it comes to the biggest investment I ever had, I have a tendency to be very irrational. So my question would be, is there anything that can we call law enforcement on them? Because they've been acting like the mafia around here. Let's face it. They act like this piece of ground belongs to them. Is their personal piece of turf. So how should we react? And and the point, the issue that I saw is the way that they took Herman and they really trashed him, and that's very, very low. That's a very low for an organization that is supposed to represent all of us. When you take one person and you write about that one person trying to discredit that person.
Yeah. And what I will say, I think if you treat them with respect, and I know, we have some different opinion, everybody, but I think the best thing from now until Thursday, if you have any communication, just treat them with respect. Just say what you want to do. If you want to vote for us, you vote. If you don't, then you don't. That's simple. I don't think you need to go into too much detail so you don't get in this fight situation with them. That's my suggestion. That's what I will do if they come to me. I will say, no, with respect, I stand with my decision of voting with the new board. And pretty much, because you don't want any more issues, any legal, actions. So you want everything to go smooth. That's my opinion.
And I agree with what Herman just said. I think that, the best course of action is to fight fire with water. So when they give you grief and try to get you excited, the best thing to do is not to say anything, walk away. Like Herman said, treat them with respect and don't rock the boat because, as you can see from what happened at the last meeting, rocking the boat just leads to more negativity in this community. So that's good that we can look beyond that and do the right thing. I wanted to take a moment and share some more information that I think we haven't shared with you guys before. So just so you can get a better idea of how the recall process went. I know I told you about the 262 total ballots, right? So we have 489 property owners in this community. That's including townhomes and houses, right? That we were able to reach every one of them except 142. There's 142 people that we don't know if they know about the recall or not because we were not able to make any contact whatsoever with them. 86 people we sent mail to whatever address was on the property appraiser's website. So we sent 86 mail out because these were all owners that lived either overseas or out of state, and we could not reach them directly. We set our goal to be 275, and we got really close. We were 15 votes shy of our goal, but that still gives us 15 more votes than we need for the recall. Now, that's very important, right? Because that shows that we did a pretty good job, this first time around. Then I wanted to give you a little bit of the percentages of the people that voted for the recall by street, so you can get an idea of where the highest support was. So I'm going to start with Puerto del Sol, which is probably one of the streets that has the least amount of people. I think there's only 16 properties on Puerto del Sol, and 56% of them signed the ballot. Via Tuscany, we had 21% signed the ballot. Via Palma, 50% signed the ballot. Via Otero, 36%. Riachuelo, this is the townhomes, it was 27%. Via Preciosa, 77% signed. Florencia, 42%. Menorca, 50%. Sangria, 60%. Villa Largo, 83%. Casabella, 68%. Siesta View, 67%. Marbella, 57%. Camino Real South, where the houses are, 72%. Camino Real North, where the townhomes are, 36%. So I wanted to share this with you for two reasons. One, I want you to see how much we worked and where the most effective voting came from. And two is that I want you to understand that the two board members that are stirring the pot right now, so to speak, live on two of the streets that voted the most. So that goes to tell you how popular they are in their own streets. So, I think if I were a board member, I would want everyone around me to like me, and I would probably be a good neighbor. So if people right next to you and across from you and down the street from you want you out, that speaks to what kind of neighbor you are. And, you know, I can't even mention how bad it is to be a board member when not even the people immediately around you like you. But anyway, I just want to make sure that you guys knew where the numbers are. And like I said, we are very transparent. Any documentation you guys want to see, we're willing to share it with you. Obviously, we will protect the privacy of the exact addresses of the people that signed as much as we can, because that's not what we're in the business of doing. But if you want general numbers for streets and stuff like that, that's something we can help you guys with. Or if you want to see any of the arbitration documents, any of the email threads, we will be happy to show them to you. I can't share them electronically with you because we have to keep them in our possession, but I'll be more than happy to demonstrate them to you. Any
Mario,
other questions?
we have someone that is going to ask a question. Let me see. Gina? I think he's on mute.
I can unmute her. Let me see. Gina Stewart?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see. Oh, no, it won't let me unmute her. She has to do it. And she did it.
Hi, I think can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, loud and clear.
Perfect. So I kind of had a question to piggyback off of what you were just mentioning, the privacy of, you know, everyone that signed the recall ballot. And it's a concern that we have, or part of the concern that we have is that the current board members and the current board overall, when they receive our ballots, they'll see our address and our names. And with that, the fear of retaliation is, you know, something that's present. And I just want to ask, how would that be handled if we feel like in any kind of way this ever doesn't go through, or if they retaliate in any kind of way? How would we go about either reporting that or what can be done if that does happen? Or what is the likelihood of that happening in general?
So that's a very good question. Unfortunately, you know, there's not a good answer for it because our goal was to get these ballots in the hand of the property manager, the attorney, and technically the board members that are being recalled shouldn't have access. Like if I were on the board, I would make sure that they don't have access and that the other staff members and everything make sure they certify everything. Unfortunately, that has not been the behavior of the management company and the attorney in the past. So, you know, we have lost, I would say, probably a good 7, maybe close to 10 votes as a result of that, because people wanted to support us and they were just afraid of retaliation and they decided not to vote, you know, even though they wanted to. And that's sad because this is our community. Nobody should be afraid of our leadership, you know, but it's a reality. And all I can tell you is that on our side, no one will ever know from us who voted or didn't vote. Like I said, we'll give you percentages, but we're not going to give you addresses. We're not going to tell you he voted, she voted. No. But I can't speak for the board, the lawyer, or the property manager.
But like what I will say is if your house is in good condition, you know, by the rules of the CCRS, you don't have to fear with anything because they cannot do anything to you or violations or anything if you follow the CCRS, the covenants and restrictions. So if your house is well taken care of, the roof is clean, the driveway is clean, the trash is, you don't have to worry about any retaliation because that's the only way they can, I think, do retaliation with someone.
Well, the biggest form of retaliation that I think even I experienced myself in the past, which they like to play games with, is where they will change your account number so that your automatic payments don't get applied. So it is good practice that every other month or every month, if you could, or every 3 months, that you log into your Town Square account and kind of look at your payments and make sure that they're being applied. Because I'm very bad at following my auto payments, especially when everything's on autopilot for many years. And that happened to me. They accused me of being $700 deficit on my payments when they were receiving them, but they weren't applying them to my account. And they eliminated me from an election as a result of that, which is devious, But like Herman said, I had
It's
to
funny
go.
you mentioned that. That happened to my parents, and they had to pay like an extra fee of like $1,000 and some change because, according to their records, they were behind when, like you said, everything was set up to come out automatically, and there were no changes made on their end to their accounts. Obviously, everything was supposed to be getting deducted as it always was.
And that's
So-
another one that we're planning to do is, I know you mentioned $1,000. That's a lot of money. So that means maybe lawyer fees on it.
Right. Yeah, I
Yes.
think they still have the letter in the records.
So what we're planning to do is anything, if we are elected and this recall pass, we don't gotta send anything to a lawyer if it doesn't need to. We gotta try to figure out the issue, talk to the homeowners, make sure they understand, because sometimes things happen, emergencies happen. So we need to know if the homeowner knows what's going on, make sure it's okay. And if it's okay, then we let them know before we transfer any case to a lawyer. And I think Mario can elaborate a little more on that, but I think it's best to do it, for the community instead of just sending it to the lawyer right away.
Yeah, that's right. What Herman just said. I used to be president of an HOA where I lived at before I came here, and our MO there, we had a good crew on the board that really cared about the ownership, and we basically always had the 3 strikes you're out kind of rule. When anybody messed up for any reason, a violation, a payment, whatever it is, they'd get a warning letter. You missed your payment. We would wait 30 days. If after 30 days they didn't respond, we would try to call them or try to engage them by having management, not the board members, but management reach out to them and try to take care of it. And if they didn't respond after 90 days, then that's when they would go to the attorney and fees will start accumulating, which I think it's reasonable. If you wait 90 days and people are trying to reach you and you're not responding, and we had people that couldn't pay. We had a couple of people that were having financial issues. They couldn't pay. They came to our board meeting. They looked at us in the eyes and they said, look, I'm embarrassed. I never, or they sent us a letter or an email, and we would say, hey, we'll put you on a payment plan. Pay an extra $20 every month until you catch up. You understand? So board members are supposed to work with the owners. They're supposed to be here to help us, to try to maintain the community, because a lot of our deterioration in this community is because of lack of maintenance, and it's also retaliation from some people that live here, whether they're residents, the tenants or owners. They just don't want to do things just because they don't like what's going on in the community. I spoke to a gentleman today and said, they've been sending me letters about my roof for a while. I don't care. Until they clean their roofs, I'm not going to do it, which to me makes sense, right? If you're trying to enforce a rule that you're not following, then you're not going to get a good enforcement. So that would be the first thing, is that I think the CDD and the HOA need to do their part of maintaining the properties that they're responsible for. And then we can ask the ownership to try to bring their places up to par as well, and have a process for it. Not that everybody has to fix their roofs now or clean their roofs today, but, give a certain amount of time, whether it's 120 days, 180 days or whatever, but everyone will bring the community back up to par. And I think the beauty of this community will come back to light the way we saw it when a lot of us bought here. This neighborhood used to be very nice. Herman actually has a video, I think you guys can find it on our Facebook, that shows what, the advertisement when this community was started, how beautiful it looked. And we're hoping to restore that beauty back to the soul. Anything else, guys? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Gina. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying thank you. I was just saying thank you.
Okay. All right. If nobody has any more questions, I don't want to take more of your time. I just thought it was important to set the record straight. what I'm hoping that this would do is that you could reach out to your neighbors, because I know as neighbors, we talk to our neighbors all the time. We talk to people, and I hope that we can spread the word that, you know, if you truly don't want to rescind your vote, I'm really afraid that them sending these letters with these forms out may cause confusion on some people, where it may lead them to believe that this is part of what we're doing, and they may sign it not knowing what they're signing. So if you know anybody that has signed, you know, just let them know not to ignore that if their intent is to really vote. But if they truly have changed their mind, then we accept it, you know. And like I said, we put it in God's hands, and we hope that, you know, we prevail, and, you know, and we'll keep pushing forward no matter what happens. We're going to keep pushing forward. And at some point, we have to get this community back on track. So, you know, that's all we have to say. Anybody else have anything else to say, guys?
I want to say thank you to everyone, to the leadership team, for your commitment, your dedication, your tumultuous determination. I appreciate everything. I am a homeowner. I've been here since '06. I don't plan to leave.
Wow.
I'm retired. This is my investment. Like you said, Mario, this is my biggest investment. And I intend to live here until God calls me home. So we don't give up, we don't give in, but when they go low, we go high.
Thank you so much, Lynn. I appreciate that.
You're quite welcome.
You good, Herman? Anything else you want to say?
No, I want to say just thank you to everyone. You guys did awesome. You know, like Mario said, 262 votes. That's huge. You know, so if we keep like that and keep growing and keep doing that on every election, I'm telling you, we're going to have the best community, because we're going to have changes. And if you don't like something, you can change it, because you're going to have the power of voting. So, and remember, November is close around the corner. So it's another election coming up.
That's true. What Herman's talking about is the CDD election in November. Everybody needs to understand that that doesn't happen here at BSO. It happens at the supervisor of election. They handle the CDD election. The board members have no input. People sign up. You guys have to go out and vote. If you're registered to vote, you can vote. Well, as long as you're 18 over, registered to vote. So you could be an owner, you could be a tenant, you could be the owner's son, the tenant's son. As long as you live in the community and you're registered to vote, you can vote for your next CDD board. And it's a majority election this year, so there'll be 3 seats up for grabs. It's a very good opportunity to make a big change here, especially when everybody's talking about the gate and our amenities and all that. That's what CDD does, and that's where to go. I see I got one more message here. Okay, no, everybody's just saying cool. All right, everybody have a good night. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll keep you posted. We'll probably have another one of these meetings as soon as we hear about the meeting coming up next week, or we have any additional information. Have a good night.
Good night,
Happy
everyone.
Easter, everyone. Happy
Bye-bye.
Easter.
Happy Easter.
Yes. Good night, Herman. Thank you.
You're welcome.